October 1st, 1941, evening, USS Arizona, Pearl Harbor. My name is Thomas Reeves, Tommy to everyone back home. I'm 21 years old, seaman first class, United States Navy, serving aboard the USS Arizona, battleship number 39. Emma sent this diary for my birthday last week. Said I should write down my experiences so I'd have something to show my kids someday. I laughed when I opened it. What am I going to write about? Swabbing decks? Polishing brass? But she wrote on the first page, "Dear Tommy, keep this with you. Write what you see and feel. Love, Ma." So here I am. I'm sitting on my bunk in the berthing compartment right now. The air is warm and humid, even with the portholes open. You can hear the creaking of the ship settling, guys talking and laughing, someone's playing cards in the corner. Luis Hernandez just walked by and asked what I'm writing. Told him it's a letter to a girl. He laughed and called me a romantic fool. Truth is, I should probably start with where I am and how I got here. The Arizona is home. 608 feet of steel and power moored here at Pearl Harbor in the territory of Hawaii. She's a Pennsylvania-class battleship commissioned back in 1916. That makes her older than me by 5 years, but she's still one of the most powerful ships in the Pacific Fleet. 12 14-inch guns in 4 turrets, each barrel as long as a telephone pole. I work in Turret 4, the aft turret on the port side. Division 5, gun crew. I grew up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. My dad owns a hardware store on 3rd Avenue. Ma teaches 4th grade at McKinley Elementary. I've got 3 siblings. James is the oldest. He's 23 and studying agriculture at Iowa State. Then there's me. Dorothy's 16, thinks she's going to be a movie star. And Mickey's 12, the baby, obsessed with football and comic books. I joined the Navy in November of 39. Wasn't exactly drafted and wasn't exactly a patriotic calling either, if I'm being honest. I'd been working at Dad's store since I graduated high school in 38, measuring nails, cutting rope, stocking shelves. It was fine work, but Cedar Rapids felt small. The world felt big. I wanted to see something beyond Iowa cornfields before I settled into selling hammers for the rest of my life. Dad understood. James was going to take over the business anyway. I think Ma cried for 3 days straight when I enlisted, but she kissed my forehead and told me to be safe. Boot camp at Great Lakes was cold and miserable. Then I got my orders for the Pacific Fleet. First time I saw the Arizona was in May of last year when I reported aboard. She was magnificent. All that gray steel gleaming in the sun, the stars and stripes flying from the stern. I felt proud, still do. Life aboard ship is routine most days. Reveille at 0530, breakfast at 0600, powdered eggs, toast, coffee that tastes like motor oil but wakes you up, drills and maintenance from 0800 to noon. We practiced loading the big guns, running through the motions until we could do it blindfolded. Lunch, more drills or work details in the afternoon. Chow at 1700. Taps at 2100. My bunkmates are good guys. There's Charlie Novak from Chicago, Italian kid with black hair and a laugh that sounds like a car backfiring. He's seaman second class, works in Turret 4 with me. We've gotten close this past year. He tells stories about growing up in Chicago that make the whole berthing compartment howl. Luis Hernandez is from somewhere in New Mexico, speaks a little Spanish when he's tired or frustrated. Good poker player. Took $15 off me last month. There's Robert Morrison from Alabama, quiet guy who reads his Bible every night. William Chen, first generation Chinese American from San Francisco, smart as a whip, always knows the answers during training exercises. A dozen others whose names and faces have become as familiar as my own brothers. The work is hard sometimes, but satisfying. Those 14-inch guns are monsters. Each shell weighs over 1,400 pounds. The powder bags we load are 110 pounds each, silk-wrapped, and you handle them gentle as babies because one spark means you and everyone around you are meeting God. We train and train until the movements are automatic. Pull the powder bag from the magazine, pass it up the chain, load it into the breech, step clear. The turret can rotate a full circle, the guns can elevate to 45 degrees. When they fire, and I've only been on board for a few live fire exercises, The concussion hits you in the chest like a punch. But most days we don't fire the guns. Most days we clean them, maintain them, drill the procedures. It's peacetime after all. There's a war going on in Europe, we all know that. Hitler's marching across the continent. Britain's getting bombed. But that's on the other side of the world. We're here in paradise. And it is paradise. Hawaii is beautiful in a way Cedar Rapids never could be. Palm trees and flowers everywhere. The water in the harbor is so blue it looks fake. When we get Liberty shore leave, some of the guys head to Honolulu, to Hotel Street where there are bars and girls and things Ma wouldn't want to know about. I usually go to Waikiki Beach. The sand is white and soft. The waves roll in steady and warm. I've learned to swim pretty well. Back in Iowa, swimming meant the muddy creek behind Henderson's farm. I'm not sure what else to write for a first entry. I'm healthy. The food's decent. I've got friends and purpose. The Arizona is a good ship with a good crew. Captain Van Valkenburg runs a tight outfit, but he's fair. We trust him. Tomorrow's another day of drills. Charlie's got duty this weekend, so he's grumbling about missing Liberty. I told him I'd smuggle him back some pineapple. The lights are about to go out. I can hear the rustling of guys settling into their racks. The ship rocks gently with the tide. It's peaceful. Ma, if you ever read this, I'm doing fine. I miss you all, but I'm right where I should be. October 15th, 1941. Afternoon, USS Arizona, Pearl Harbor. Got Liberty this past weekend and I've got to write about it before I forget the details. Saturday afternoon, Charlie and I caught the launch over to the landing and took a bus into Honolulu. The city's alive in a way Cedar Rapids never is. People everywhere, sailors and soldiers and Marines in uniform. Locals selling flowers and fruit from carts, cars honking, music pouring out of storefronts. Charlie wanted to hit the bars on Hotel Street, but I convinced him to go to Waikiki instead. The beach was crowded. Families with kids building sandcastles, couples walking hand in hand, servicemen playing volleyball. We swam for a while, and the water was warm as bathwater, crystal clear. You could see fish swimming around your feet. Charlie kept yelling about sharks until some local kid told him the sharks don't come into the beach area. Kid was maybe 10 years old, and Charlie's face turned red. There was a USO dance that evening at a community center near the beach. Big band playing. Not Glenn Miller, but they did a decent version of Chattanooga Choo Choo. The room was packed with sailors and soldiers and local girls in dresses. I'm not much of a dancer, but I worked up the courage to ask this one girl. Her name was Lonnie. She had dark hair and brown eyes, and when she smiled, it felt like the sun coming out. We danced to 3 songs. She asked where I was from, and I told her Iowa. She'd never heard of Cedar Rapids. I described the cornfields and the cold winters, and she laughed, said she couldn't imagine snow. I asked if she'd ever left Hawaii. She said no, but maybe someday. At the end of the night, she wrote her address on a napkin and told me to write if I wanted. I've still got that napkin in my locker. Haven't written yet. Not sure what I'd say. Charlie met a girl too, a blonde from California whose dad's stationed at Schofield Barracks. He wouldn't shut up about her the whole bus ride back. Sunday, we had to be back aboard by 2100. We grabbed dinner at a little diner, hamburgers and milkshakes, American as it gets. Charlie insisted on paying because he'd won big at poker Friday night. The sun set over the harbor while we ate, turning everything orange and pink and purple. I thought about Iowa, about the sunsets over the fields, and realized I don't miss it as much as I probably should. There's something about being here that feels right, like I'm part of something bigger than myself. The Arizona, the fleet, the Navy. Back home, I was just another kid in a hardware store. Here I'm a gunner on one of the most powerful ships in the world. The news from Europe keeps getting worse. We hear about it on the radio, read about it in the papers. London's getting hammered by the Luftwaffe. Hitler's pushing into Russia now. Japan's making noise in the Pacific too, moving into Indochina, tensions rising. But it all feels distant. We're here in Hawaii, doing our jobs, living our lives. The war is over there. We're over here. I did see something in the newspaper that bothered me a little. Article about how relations with Japan are deteriorating. Something about oil embargoes and frozen assets. A few guys in the berthing compartment were talking about it. Morrison said he heard the officers are worried about Japan making a move somewhere in the Pacific. The Philippines maybe, or the Dutch East Indies. Charlie said the Japs would never be stupid enough to attack American forces. We've got the biggest, strongest navy in the world. They'd be crushed. I agree with Charlie. Still, there's been more drills lately, more talk about readiness. The officers seem a bit more serious than they did a few months ago, but mostly life goes on. The sun shines, the ship rocks gently in the harbor, we do our jobs, we get liberty on weekends, we write letters home and play cards and tell stories and dream about what we'll do when our enlistments are up. I'm writing this in the shade on the fantail. There's a breeze coming off the water. I can see the other battleships along Battleship Row. The Nevada, the Oklahoma, the West Virginia, the California, the Pennsylvania's in dry dock. All these massive ships lined up, flags flying. It's a powerful sight. Makes you feel safe. Charlie just walked by and flicked my ear. Says I'm wasting a perfectly good afternoon writing when I could be playing baseball. We've got a game against the Oklahoma's crew in an hour. I better wrap this up. Ma, Dorothy, if you're reading this someday, I wish you could see this place. It's beautiful. I'm happy here. Tell Mickey to stay out of trouble and keep up with his schoolwork. Tell James good luck with his studies. Tell Dad the hardware business lessons are coming in handy. I'm the best at maintaining the turret equipment because I know my tools. I'll write again soon. October 28th, 1941, late evening. USS Arizona, berthing compartment. We had gun drills today that lasted 6 hours straight. My shoulders are aching and my hands are raw from handling the powder bags. The drills are getting more intense. Captain Van Valkenburg himself came down to Turret 4 this afternoon to observe. He doesn't usually do that. He watched us run through the loading procedure 3 times, then gathered us around and gave a speech about readiness and discipline and pride in our work. Said, the Arizona has to be ready for anything at any time. Said we're the backbone of the Pacific Fleet and the world is counting on us. It was inspiring but also a little unsettling. The captain's a good man, respected by the whole crew. He doesn't waste words. If he's emphasizing readiness this much, maybe there's more happening than we know. After drills, I was up in Turret 4 doing maintenance, cleaning the breech mechanisms, checking the hydraulics, inspecting the powder hoist. It's precise work. Each gun is a masterpiece of engineering. The turret itself is armored with 14 inches of steel plate. The whole thing weighs over 1,000 tons. When you're inside and the hatches are closed, you're in a steel cave. The air gets hot and close. You can hear the ship's sounds amplified, the engines thrumming, water sloshing against the hull, voices echoing through the ventilation shafts. I was working alongside Charlie and a few other guys from Division 5. Charlie was telling this story about his uncle back in Chicago who supposedly ran bootleg whiskey during Prohibition. According to Charlie, his uncle had a secret compartment in his delivery truck and he'd haul Canadian whiskey right under the cops' noses. Got rich, bought a restaurant, completely legitimate now. Charlie tells it so well you can see the whole thing. The truck rattling down dark alleys, the cops shaking their heads, his uncle counting money in a back room. Luis said his grandfather did something similar in New Mexico, except it was tequila from across the Mexican border. Pretty soon, everyone's swapping stories about relatives who bent the rules. Morrison stayed quiet. His family's Baptist, doesn't hold with drinking at all. It's moments like that when I realize how different everyone's background is. Charlie's Italian Catholic from Chicago. Luis is Catholic too, Hispanic from a small New Mexico town. Morrison's Southern Baptist from Alabama. Chen's family is Buddhist from San Francisco. I'm Methodist from Iowa. We're all from different worlds. But here on the Arizona, we're all just sailors. All brothers. Got a letter from home today. Ma wrote about the fall harvest. Dad's hardware store always does good business this time of year. Farmers coming in for tools and supplies. She said Dorothy's got the lead in the school play, some production of Our Town. Said Mickey made the football team. Even though he's small for his age, James is doing well at Iowa State, talking about joining the army after graduation if the war's still going on. That part stuck with me. If the war's still going on. Like, it's inevitable we'll be in it eventually. Ma asked if I thought about Betty Morrison lately. Betty's the daughter of the local dentist, Dr. Morrison. We dated a little before I enlisted, went to the movies a few times, held hands at the 4th of July picnic, kissed once under the bleachers at a football game. It wasn't serious, at least not to me. Ma always liked her though. Thinks we'd make a good match. I haven't thought about Betty much, if I'm honest. She seems like someone from another life. A nice girl from Cedar Rapids who'll marry a nice boy from Cedar Rapids and have nice Iowa babies and live a nice, normal life. Nothing wrong with that. It's just not what I want anymore. Though I'm not sure what I do want. To see the world, I suppose, to do something that matters, to be part of the big machinery of the Navy, protecting our country, even if we never fire a shot in anger. Charlie doesn't have a girl back home. Says he's married to the Navy. Luis writes letters to 3 different girls. One in New Mexico, one in California, one in Texas. He's hedging his bets. Morrison writes to a girl from his church in Alabama. He carries her picture in his wallet, shows it to anyone who'll look. She's pretty in that wholesome, clean-scrubbed way. The lights just flickered. The signal that taps is in 15 minutes. I need to finish this up. Tomorrow's more of the same. Drills in the morning, maintenance in the afternoon. I've got watch from 1600 to 2000. 4 hours standing guard, making sure everything's secure. It's boring work, but necessary. The ship feels solid beneath me. The steel hull, the massive guns, the armor plating. Sometimes I think about what it would be like if we actually had to fight. If enemy planes came at us or enemy ships appeared on the horizon. Would I be scared? Would I do my job right? Would the training take over? I think it would. I hope it would. But it's hard to imagine, really. War still feels like something that happens in newsreels and newspapers, not in real life. Not here in paradise, with the warm breeze and the blue water and the peaceful routine of ship life. The lights just went out. I'm writing this by the little bit of moonlight coming through the porthole. My bunk is comfortable. I can hear Charlie snoring already. Someone's mumbling in their sleep. Everything's fine. Everything's going to be fine. November 10th, 1941, morning. USS Arizona, mess deck. I'm writing this during breakfast. Powdered eggs again. Toast. Coffee that could strip paint. But I'm hungry enough not to care. There's been scuttlebutt going around the ship for the past few days. Rumors flying everywhere. The Japanese are moving troops. The president's going to demand they withdraw from Indochina. We might be heading out on maneuvers soon. War is coming. War is not coming. The officers know something. The officers don't know anything. You can't trust scuttlebutt. Half of it's invented. The other half is exaggerated. But there's definitely something in the air. You can feel it. The officers are having more meetings. The drills are more frequent. There's been ammunition inventory checks, fuel checks, readiness assessments. Yesterday, we had an intership baseball game. Arizona versus Oklahoma. We played on one of the fields near the harbor. It was a beautiful afternoon. Clear sky, warm sun, light breeze. Perfect baseball weather. I pitched 4 innings. My arm's still a little sore. We won 8-6. Charlie hit a double in the 7th that drove in 2 runs. Luis made an incredible catch in center field that had everyone cheering. For a few hours, we forgot about drills and war news and just played ball like kids. The Oklahoma guys were good sports about losing. We all went to the enlisted club afterward and had a few beers. They've got a pitcher named Jackson who throws heat like you wouldn't believe. We got to talking about back home. He's from Georgia, played semi-pro ball before enlisting. Said if this war breaks out and we all survive it, he's going to try out for the majors. I told him I hoped he made it. There was this moment sitting there with guys from different ships, different states, different backgrounds. All of us in uniform, all of us doing the same job. I felt proud, felt like I was exactly where I was supposed to be. But then Jackson said something that's been bothering me. He said, "You Arizona boys better watch yourselves. You're the flagship, the big target. If the Japs do something stupid, they'll come for you first." He was joking, I think. Everyone laughed. But it stuck in my mind. The Arizona is the flagship of Battleship Division 1. She's one of the most powerful ships in the fleet, one of the most visible. If someone wanted to make a statement, wanted to strike a blow against American naval power, she'd be a prime target. But that's crazy thinking. The Japanese aren't going to attack Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor is thousands of miles from Japan. We've got defenses, patrols, warning systems. An attack on American soil would mean total war, and Japan has to know they can't win that. They're bogged down in China already. Their economy's strangled by embargoes. They'd be crushed. Charlie says I'm overthinking it. Says the worst we'll face is maybe convoy duty to the Philippines, maybe some patrol action. Nothing major. He's probably right. Morrison's been reading his Bible more lately. I asked him if he was worried about something, and he said no, he just feels called to prayer these days. Said his mama always told him to pray more when times are uncertain. I asked if he thought times were uncertain. He looked at me with those serious eyes and said, Tommy, I think we're standing on the edge of something big. I don't know what, but I can feel it coming. I don't know if I believe in premonitions or divine warnings or any of that, but Morrison's not usually the dramatic type. If he feels something, maybe there's something to feel. The mess deck is emptying out. Time to head to Turret 4 for morning drills. We're practicing rapid fire loading today, seeing how fast we can get those powder bags in and the shells ready. The record is somewhere around 45 seconds for a full loading sequence. Our crew's been averaging around 50. We're trying to shave off time. It's funny how competitive we get about it. Like it's a game. Load the powder, load the shell, lock the breech, clear the deck. Faster, faster. In a real battle, those seconds could mean the difference between hitting the enemy or getting hit yourself. But it still feels like a game. Still feels theoretical. I'm finishing my coffee. It's awful, but it's hot. Charlie's waving at me from across the mess deck, pointing at his watch. Time to go. Ma, if you're reading this, I'm still fine, still safe, still doing my job. Don't worry about the rumors and the news. We're the United States Navy. We're ready for anything. November 20th, 1941. Evening. USS Arizona. Berthing compartment. The drills are relentless now. Almost every day, multiple times a day. General quarters, abandoned ship, damage control, firefighting, chemical attack, air raid. We run through them until we're exhausted. Then we run through them again. Today we had a surprise drill at 0300. 3 in the morning, the alarm went off and everyone tumbled out of their racks, grabbed their gear, and ran to battle stations in the dark. I made it to Turret 4 in under 3 minutes. We ran the full battle drill, loading procedure, range finding, target acquisition, fire control, everything except actually firing the guns. Captain Van Valkenburg was there again, watching, timing us with a stopwatch. When we finished, he said, "Good work, men, but good isn't good enough. We need to be perfect. Lives depend on it. Do it again." So we did it again, and again, 6 times total. By the time the sun came up, my hands were blistered and my arms felt like lead. Some guys are grumbling about it, saying the officers are paranoid, saying we're working too hard for peacetime. But I get it. I understand what they're doing. They're making sure we're ready. For what exactly, I don't know. But ready. Liberty's been curtailed. We were supposed to have weekend Liberty this Saturday, but it's been cancelled. Essential personnel only goes on leave, and apparently that doesn't include gun crew. Charlie's upset about it. He had plans to meet that California girl again. The ship's been fully fueled and provisioned. The ammunition magazines are stocked. The anti-aircraft guns have been serviced and tested. We've taken on extra supplies, food, medical gear, spare parts. It feels like we're preparing for deployment, but no one's told us we're shipping out. Luis heard from a buddy on the Pennsylvania that the whole Pacific Fleet's on some kind of alert status. Not officially at war, but not exactly peacetime either. The scuttlebutt says Japan's been making aggressive moves in the Pacific, that diplomats are trying to work something out, but it's not looking good. Got another letter from home today, this one from Dorothy. She writes like she talks, fast and scattered and full of gossip. She's excited about the school play. She's got a new dress for the performance. Some boy named Richard asked her to the winter formal, and Ma said she could go if Dad chaperoned. She thinks that's mortally embarrassing, but also kind of exciting. She asked if I'm coming home for Christmas. I wrote back and told her probably not. The Navy doesn't stop for holidays, and with all these drills and preparations, I doubt they'll be granting much leave. I felt bad writing it. I can imagine her face falling when she reads it. I've never missed a Christmas at home before. Even when I was at boot camp, I got a few days leave in December and made it back to Cedar Rapids. There's traditions. Mom makes her special sugar cookies. Dad reads the Christmas story from the Bible. We all exchange gifts. We go to church on Christmas Eve. The house smells like pine and cinnamon. Mickey always tries to sneak a peek at his presents early. James and I used to stay up late talking after everyone went to bed. I'm going to miss all of that this year. Christmas in Hawaii, it'll be warm, no snow, palm trees instead of pine trees. The Navy will do something for the crew, special dinner, maybe some entertainment, but it won't be home. Morrison's homesick too. I can tell. He's been quieter than usual, staring at his girlfriend's picture for long stretches, writing letters late into the night. Charlie handles it differently. He jokes more, laughs louder, keeps everyone's spirits up. But sometimes I catch him with this look on his face, like he's somewhere else entirely, probably thinking about his family in Chicago, his ma and his sisters and his neighborhood. Luis plays cards and wins money and pretends he doesn't care, but he writes those letters to his 3 girls, and I think he's hedging his bets in more ways than one, making sure someone somewhere will remember him if something happens. If something happens. I keep thinking that phrase, as if something might happen, as if we're not just preparing for hypothetical scenarios, but for actual, real danger. The rational part of my brain says I'm being dramatic. We're in Pearl Harbor. We're surrounded by the U.S. Pacific Fleet. We've got Army air bases, coastal defenses, patrol planes. We're about as safe as you can be in a military installation. But the irrational part, the part that notices how tense the officers are, how frequent the drills have become, how the scuttlebutt keeps getting darker, that part is uneasy. I'm writing this in my bunk. The lights are still on for another 20 minutes. Most guys are writing letters or reading or playing quiet card games. There's a sense of, I don't know how to describe it. Anticipation, maybe? Like we're all waiting for something we can't see yet. The ship creaks and settles. The water sloshes against the hull. Outside, through the porthole, I can see lights from the other ships and from the shore. Everything looks peaceful, normal. Maybe I'm worrying over nothing. Maybe the drills will taper off. The tensions with Japan will ease, and we'll slide back into the comfortable routine we had a month ago. Baseball games and shore leave and lazy Sunday afternoons. Maybe, but Morrison's words keep echoing in my head, standing on the edge of something big. I hope he's wrong. I hope we're all wrong. I hope I'm writing this years from now, laughing at how worried we were over nothing. The lights just dimmed. 5-minute warning for taps. I'm going to try to sleep. Early drill again tomorrow. The work goes on. Goes November 27th, 1941. Evening, USS Arizona, mess deck. Today was Thanksgiving. The Navy put on a good spread, real turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, stuffing, cranberry sauce, pumpkin pie. The mess deck was decorated with paper turkeys and autumn leaves that looked out of place in tropical Hawaii. But the food was good and there was plenty of it, and for a few hours we could pretend everything was normal. Captain Van Valkenburg addressed the crew before dinner. He's a tall man with gray hair and eyes that seem to see right through you. He stood at the front of the mess deck in his dress uniform and spoke without notes. He thanked us for our service and our dedication. He said we should be proud to wear the uniform, proud to serve aboard the Arizona, proud to defend our nation. Then his tone shifted. He said these were uncertain times. He said tensions in the Pacific were reaching a critical point. He said we'd received a war warning from the Navy Department. Not a declaration of war, but a warning that war is possible, maybe probable. The room got very quiet. He said our job is to be ready, to stay sharp, to maintain our skills and our equipment and our vigilance. He said if the call comes, we'll answer it with honor and courage. He said he's proud to serve with us and confident in our abilities. Then he smiled, just a little, and said, "Now let's eat this turkey before it gets cold. Happy Thanksgiving, men." The applause was loud and genuine. Say what you will, but Captain Van Valkenburg knows how to lead. He didn't sugarcoat the situation, but he didn't panic us either. He told us the truth and trusted us to handle it. After dinner, a group of us sat around talking. Charlie, Luis, Morrison, Chen, a few others. We talked about what we were thankful for. Charlie said his family, his ma and his sisters, and his neighborhood in Chicago. Said he missed the smell of his ma's cooking and the sound of the L train rumbling past. Luis said freedom. Said his grandparents came from Mexico with nothing, and now here he is, serving in the Navy, defending the country that gave his family a chance. Morrison said his faith. Said no matter what happens, he knows God has a plan, and he trusts in that. Chen said opportunity. Said his parents worked in a laundry in San Francisco, barely spoke English, sacrificed everything so he could have a better life. said joining the Navy was his way of proving their sacrifice wasn't wasted. When it came to my turn, I didn't know what to say at first. Then I looked around at these guys, these brothers, and I knew. I'm thankful for them, for this crew, for being part of something bigger than myself, for having a purpose and a place where I belong. I didn't say it that eloquently. I think I stumbled through it and probably sounded corny, but they understood. We talked for a long time after that, about home, about our families, about what we want to do after the Navy. Charlie wants to open a restaurant like his uncle. Luis wants to be a policeman. Morrison wants to be a preacher. Chen wants to be an engineer. I said maybe I'd go back to Cedar Rapids and take over Dad's hardware store after all. Or maybe I'd stay in the Navy, make a career of it. It's strange how a war warning can make you think about the future more clearly. Like the possibility of not having a future makes you want to plan for it more carefully. I've been thinking about Betty Morrison back home. Ma mentioned her again in her last letter. Said Betty asks about me sometimes at church. I should probably write to her. I don't know what I'd say though. Dear Betty, I'm on a battleship in Hawaii preparing for a possible war with Japan. How are you? The truth is, I'm not the same person who left Cedar Rapids 2 years ago. That kid who worked in a hardware store and pitched for the local baseball team and kissed Betty under the bleachers. He's gone. I'm someone different now. Someone shaped by the Navy and by the Arizona and by these men around me. I don't know if Betty would understand that. I don't know if anyone back home would. There's a distance growing between my old life and my current one. When I read letters from home, they feel like messages from another world. Ma writes about church socials and school plays and harvest festivals. It all seems so small and far away. Not unimportant, just disconnected from where I am now. Morrison says that's normal. Says everyone who serves feels it. You change, but the people back home stay the same. And eventually you don't quite fit together anymore. It makes me sad to think about, but it also feels true. The mess deck is clearing out now. Guys heading back to their compartments or to watch stations or to wherever they need to be. The decorations look shabby in the overhead lights. Someone's already taking them down. Tomorrow we're back to drills. The holiday's over. The work continues. But tonight I'm thankful for this ship, for this crew, for this opportunity to serve. Whatever comes, we'll face it together. And if that war warning turns into actual war, if Japan does something aggressive, if we find ourselves in combat, I think we'll be ready. I hope we'll be ready. I'm writing this sitting at one of the long tables. My hands smell like turkey and gravy. My stomach's full. Outside, through the portholes, I can see the lights of Pearl Harbor twinkling in the darkness. The other battleships, the shore installations, the city beyond. It's beautiful. Everything feels balanced on a knife's edge. Peace and war. Safety and danger. The life I knew and the life I'm living. Ma, Dad, James, Dorothy, Mickey, if you ever read this, know that I was happy here. Know that I found brothers and purpose. Know that I'm grateful for everything you gave me. And know that whatever happens, I'll do my duty. I'll make you proud. December 1st, 1941. Evening. USS Arizona, berthing compartment. Got liberty today. Just a few hours. But I took full advantage. Charlie and I went into Honolulu to do some Christmas shopping. The city was busy with servicemen doing the same thing. The shops were decorated with tinsel and lights and wreaths. Christmas carols played from speakers. It felt festive and normal and strange all at once. I bought Hawaiian shirts for James and Mickey. Bright colors, palm tree patterns, the kind of thing you'd never see in Iowa. For Dorothy, I found a bottle of perfume that smells like tropical flowers, plumeria and coconut. For Ma, I got a nice wooden jewelry box with a mother-of-pearl inlay. For Dad, I found a pocket knife made locally, good steel, well-balanced. Charlie bought presents for his sisters. He's got 3 of them and he agonized over each gift, wanting it to be perfect. We must have spent an hour in one shop while he debated between 2 different scarves. After shopping, we went to a diner and had hamburgers and milkshakes. We sat by the window watching people walk by. Families, couples, servicemen in uniform. Everyone doing their Christmas shopping, living their lives, going about their business. At the next table, there were 3 army soldiers from Schofield Barracks. They were talking loud enough that we could hear them. One of them was saying the army's on high alert, that they've been running air patrols constantly, That command thinks something's going to happen soon. Another one disagreed, said it's all posturing, that Japan's not stupid enough to start a war with America. The third one, an older sergeant, said, "Mark my words, boys. Before the year's out, we'll be in it. Japan's cornered. Cornered of animals attack." Charlie and I exchanged looks. We didn't say anything to the soldiers, just finished our food and left. Walking back to catch the launch to the ship, Charlie was quieter than usual. Finally, he said, "You think that sergeant's right?" I said I didn't know. He said, "If he is, if war comes, you think we'll see action?" I said, "Probably. We're on the Arizona. If there's fighting in the Pacific, we'll be part of it." He nodded, hands shoved in his pockets. Then he said, "I'm scared, Tommy. I don't want to die." It was the most honest thing I'd ever heard him say. Charlie's always joking, always laughing, always putting on a show. To hear him admit fear was jarring. I told him I was scared too, that anyone with sense would be scared. But that we're trained for this, that we've got the best ship and the best crew and the best officers, that we'll look out for each other. He seemed reassured by that. Or maybe he just needed to hear someone else admit they were scared too. We got back to the ship just before Liberty expired. The sun was setting over the harbor, painting everything in shades of orange and gold. The Arizona looked magnificent, all that steel and power silhouetted against the colorful sky. Other sailors were returning from Liberty, walking up the gangway in small groups, carrying bags of gifts and souvenirs. Everything looked peaceful, but I keep thinking about that army sergeant. Cornered animals attack. Japan is cornered. The oil embargo is strangling them. Their war in China is eating resources. Diplomacy seems to be failing. And cornered animals are dangerous. What would an attack even look like? An assault on the Philippines? Our bases in Guam or Wake Island? A surprise attack on our Pacific fleet? The last one seems unlikely. Pearl Harbor is thousands of miles from Japan. They'd have to cross the entire Pacific undetected, coordinate a massive strike force, achieve complete surprise. The logistics alone would be nearly impossible. No, if they attack, it'll be somewhere closer to their territory. The Philippines, probably. Or maybe they'll move south into the Dutch East Indies for the oil fields there. Pearl Harbor is safe. We're too far away, too well defended, too prepared. That's what I keep telling myself. I wrapped the Christmas presents tonight. Some of the guys helped. We made an assembly line of wrapping paper and ribbon and tape. Morrison's surprisingly good at making bows. Luis kept making jokes about his terrible wrapping skills. Charlie wrapped his presents in so much paper they looked like lumpy boulders. We're going to mail them tomorrow. They should get to the mainland well before Christmas. I wrote notes to go with each gift. Tried to sound cheerful and upbeat. Didn't mention the war warnings or the drills or the tension. No need to worry them. The presents are sitting in my locker now, all wrapped and ready. Looking at them makes me feel good. Makes me feel connected to home. The ship is quiet tonight. Most guys are sleeping or writing letters or reading. The normal sounds, the creaking hull, the ventilation system, the distant hum of machinery. Peaceful sounds. I should sleep. Tomorrow's Tuesday and that means more drills. The routine continues, but I'm finding it hard to sleep lately. My mind keeps racing, thinking about war and home and the future and what ifs. What if the sergeant's right? What if war does come? What if we're called to fight? I think we'll do our jobs. I think we'll make our families proud. I think the training will take over and we'll become the warriors we've been preparing to be. But underneath all that training and preparation, we're still just young men, still scared, still hoping to see home again. Charlie's snoring in his bunk across from me. Morrison's reading his Bible by flashlight. Luis is writing another letter to one of his girls. Chen's already asleep, arms crossed over his chest. My brothers, my family, whatever comes, we'll face it together. December 5th, 1941. Evening. USS Arizona, Fantail. It's Saturday evening, and I've got the ship mostly to myself. Most of the crew's on Liberty in Honolulu. I had duty today, so I'm stuck aboard, but honestly I don't mind. It's peaceful with fewer people around. Charlie's on Liberty. He got a letter from his girlfriend in Chicago. Turns out she met someone else, some guy who works in a steel mill. She wrote to break things off. Charlie tried to act like it didn't bother him. Made jokes about having more time for the Navy now. But I could see he was hurt. Luis convinced him to go into town anyway. Said the best cure for a broken heart is meeting someone new. They left this afternoon, all dressed up, Charlie forcing a smile. I'm sitting on the fantail right now, watching the sun set over Pearl Harbor. The sky is incredible, layers of orange and pink and purple and gold reflected in the water. The other battleships along Battleship Row are silhouettes against the light. You can see sailors moving on their decks, flags being lowered for evening colors. It's beautiful in a way that makes your chest ache. Had an interesting conversation this morning with one of the officers. Ensign Davis, he's young, maybe 24, graduated from Annapolis 2 years ago. He came down to Turret 4 while I was doing maintenance, and we got to talking. He asked how long I'd been in the Navy. I told him since 39. He asked if I liked it. I said yes, most days. Then he got quiet for a moment, looking at the turret machinery, and said, "You know things are getting serious, don't you, Reeves?" I said I'd heard the scuttlebutt. He said, "It's not just scuttlebutt. The whole Pacific's on edge. Japan's mobilizing. We're mobilizing. Something's going to give." I asked if he thought we'd see combat. He looked at me with these serious eyes and said, "I think before this month is out, everything's going to change. And I think we need to be ready for it. Make sure your crew's ready. Make sure you're ready." Then he patted my shoulder and walked away. I've been thinking about that conversation all day. Before this month is out. That's less than 4 weeks. What does he know that we don't? What have the officers been told? The ship's fully provisioned and fueled. The ammunition magazines are stocked. The anti-aircraft batteries have been tested. We're as ready as we can be, but ready for what? I keep imagining scenarios. Convoy duty to the Philippines under threat of submarine attack, patrol missions in contested waters, maybe even a surface engagement with Japanese warships. Each scenario plays out in my mind like a movie, the alarms sounding, racing to battle stations, the guns traversing, elevating, firing, the concussion, the smoke, the chaos, but it still feels theoretical, like a training exercise. I can't quite make it feel real. The sun's almost down now. The sky's fading from orange to purple to deep blue. Stars are starting to appear. There's a band playing on one of the other ships. I can hear the music drifting across the water. Something slow and jazzy. Beautiful. Tomorrow's Sunday. The ship will run on a reduced schedule. Most guys who have liberty tonight won't be back until tomorrow evening. It'll be quiet, peaceful, a day to relax before the new week starts. I should enjoy it. Should soak up this peace while I can. Because if Ensign Davis is right, if things are about to change, these might be the last quiet days for a long time. I've got watch duty starting at 2000, in about an hour. I'll patrol the ship, check security, make sure everything's locked down for the night. It's routine work, but I like it. Gives me time to think. The presents I wrapped are in my locker, ready to mail. I added one more. A hand-carved wooden box for Betty Morrison. Inside, I put a note. Just a few lines saying I hoped she was well, hoped she was happy, wished her all the best. I didn't ask her to wait for me or make any promises. We both know we've grown too far apart for that, but I wanted her to know I remembered her kindly. Morrison says I'm too sentimental. Maybe I am. But these days, with everything so uncertain, it feels important to tell people what they mean to you while you still can. The lights are coming on across the harbor. Pearl City, Honolulu, the military installations. Thousands of lights reflecting on the dark water. The air's warm and smells like salt and tropical flowers. A breeze is ruffling the pages of this diary. It's hard to believe war could come to a place like this. It's too beautiful, too peaceful, too far from the battlefields in Europe and China. But war doesn't care about beauty. War doesn't care about peace. War comes when nations collide and diplomacy fails and someone decides violence is the only option left. I hope it doesn't come here. I hope the diplomats figure something out. I hope Japan backs down, or we find some compromise or something. Anything prevents what seems to be building. But if it does come, we'll be ready. The Arizona and her crew will do our duty. The sun's gone now. Just the last traces of light on the horizon. The sky's deep purple overhead, stars multiplying. It's getting chilly. Well, chilly for Hawaii. Probably 70 degrees. Back in Iowa, it'd be winter by now. Maybe snow on the ground. I miss the season sometimes. Miss the crisp autumn air and the first snowfall and the way spring smells when the earth thaws. Hawaii's eternal summer can feel monotonous. But I wouldn't trade this for anything. This ship, this crew, this life. It's hard and sometimes scary and uncertain, but it's mine. I chose it, and I'm proud of it. Time to head to my watch station. One more routine night on the USS Arizona. One more peaceful evening in paradise. Everything's squared away. Tomorrow's going to be a lazy Sunday. December 6th, 1941. Late evening. USS Arizona. Berthing compartment. Got liberty this afternoon. Just a few hours, but it was good to get off the ship. Charlie and Luis and I went to Waikiki. We swam, lay on the beach, watched the waves roll in. The water was perfect, warm and clear. The beach was crowded with service families and local kids. We grabbed an early dinner at a little place near the beach, fried fish and rice and pineapple. We sat outside watching the sun start to sink toward the horizon. The sky was clear, the weather perfect. Just another beautiful day in paradise. Charlie seemed better. He'd met a girl last night on Liberty, didn't get her name, didn't see her again, but the attention helped his ego after the breakup letter. He was back to his usual joking self, making Luis and me laugh with exaggerated stories. Luis won $30 playing cards last night. He kept pulling out the money and counting it, grinning like he'd won the lottery. Said he was going to send 20 home to his mother and spend 10 on a really nice dinner next Liberty. We had to be back aboard by 2100. We caught the launch just as the sun was setting. The harbor was beautiful in the fading light, all the ships silhouetted against the orange and pink sky. The water was calm as glass. You could hear music drifting from various ships, guys singing, someone playing a harmonica. We came up the gangway at 20:45, just in time. The officer of the deck checked our names off the Liberty list, everything proper and squared away. The ship's quiet tonight, Sunday tomorrow, which means a reduced duty schedule. A lot of guys have Liberty and won't be back until tomorrow evening. The ones aboard are mostly turning in early. It's peaceful. I'm in my bunk writing this by the small lamp clipped to the edge. Charlie's rack is across from me. He's already snoring. Morrison's reading his Bible quietly, moving his lips as he reads. Luis is writing another letter. Chen's asleep. The berthing compartment smells like salt air and cleaning solution and the faint odor of oil that you can never quite get rid of on a ship. We've got colors at 0800 tomorrow, but otherwise the day's pretty open. I'm thinking about sleeping in a little, having a lazy breakfast, maybe reading. I've got a Western novel someone loaned me, not usually my style, but it's something to pass the time. The ship rocks gently in the harbor. You can hear the water lapping against the hull, the creak of the mooring lines, the hum of the ventilation system, familiar sounds, comforting sounds. I've been thinking about home a lot today, about what everyone's doing. It's Saturday night in Iowa. They're probably having dinner right about now. Ma's cooking something good, pot roast or fried chicken. Dad's reading the newspaper. Dorothy's probably getting ready to go out with friends. Mickey's listening to the radio, some adventure program. James might be home from college for the weekend. They're living their normal lives, safe, happy, far from any danger. I'm glad they're safe. Glad they don't have to worry about war warnings or Japanese aggression or any of this. Let them have their pot roast dinners and Saturday nights. Let them live in peace. Out here, we stand watch. We keep them safe. That's the job. I mailed all the Christmas presents this morning. The packages are on their way across the Pacific, heading to Cedar Rapids. They should arrive with plenty of time before Christmas. I like to imagine Ma opening the jewelry box, Dad testing the edge on that knife, Dorothy trying the perfume, James and Mickey laughing at the loud Hawaiian shirts. It makes me smile to think about it. Tomorrow's Sunday, December 7th, 1941. Just another day. A quiet day. A day to rest and recover before the week starts again. The lights are about to go out. Morrison just closed his Bible and turned off his lamp. Luis sealed his letter. Charlie's still snoring. Everything's normal. Everything's fine. I'm going to sleep well tonight. In my comfortable bunk, on my solid ship, surrounded by my brothers. Safe in Pearl Harbor. The week ahead will probably bring more drills, more training, more preparation for a war that may never come. But tonight, everything's peaceful. Everything's squared away. Tomorrow's going to be a lazy Sunday. December 7th, 1941. Around 10 in the morning, I think. I don't know exactly. Hospital, Ford Island. My hands are shaking so badly I can barely hold the pen. The nurse wrapped them in bandages because they're burned. Not badly, not like not like some of the others. I need to write this down. Need to get it out. Need to. I don't know. I need to. This morning, Sunday morning, I was asleep, deep asleep, dreaming about something. Home, maybe? I don't remember. Then the world exploded. Explosions. Massive explosions. The whole ship shaking. The alarm. General quarters. General quarters. All hands man your battle stations. This is not a drill. I thought it was a drill. A surprise drill. The officers do that sometimes. Wake us up, test our response time. I grabbed my gear and ran, bare feet on the deck. Everyone running, shouting, confusion. Then I heard it. The sound, like nothing I've ever heard, screaming, not human screaming, mechanical screaming, high-pitched, descending, getting closer. Planes. I burst out onto the deck and looked up. The sky was full of planes, dozens of them, maybe more, low. So low you could see the pilots. Red circles on the wings, red circles, Japanese. Someone was screaming, Japs! The Japs are bombing us! But it didn't make sense. It couldn't be real. This had to be some kind of mistake. Some kind of exercise, the army doing practice runs and forgot to tell the Navy, but then a bomb hit the water next to the ship. The geyser of water was huge, taller than the superstructure, and more planes were coming. I ran for turret 4, my battle station. That's where I needed to be. The deck was chaos, men running everywhere, anti-aircraft guns opening up, the noise, explosions and gunfire and screaming, and I made it to the turret. Charlie was already there. Luis, Morrison, others. We were trying to get the guns elevated, trying to bring them to bear, but the turret's designed for ship-to-ship combat. The elevation's limited. We couldn't get the angle we needed to hit the planes. Bombs were falling everywhere, hitting the water, hitting the ships. The Oklahoma was. I could see the Oklahoma. She was listing, badly, rolling over. Men were jumping off her deck into the water. The California was settling. The West Virginia was on fire. Smoke everywhere. Black smoke from burning oil. The smell. God, the smell. Then the sound. The biggest sound I've ever heard. Forward. Toward the bow. A flash. Brighter than the sun. And then the explosion. The whole ship lurched. Like a giant had punched it. The deck buckled. I was thrown off my feet. The noise. The heat. A fireball shot up. Hundreds of feet up. Higher than the masts. Orange and red and black. Screaming. The forward magazine. It detonated. 1,000,000 pounds of powder. Just gone. Exploded. The ship, the Arizona, she, the bow, the whole forward section. It just disintegrated. I don't know. I was in the water. I don't remember getting there. I don't remember jumping. But I was in the water, and the ship was. She was going down, sinking. The mighty Arizona was sinking. The water was on fire, oil spreading across the surface, burning. I had to swim through flames. Actually swim through fire. The heat, my eyebrows. I could smell my hair burning. Men everywhere in the water, swimming, drowning, burning, screaming, the screaming. I'll never forget the screaming. I saw Morrison, or I think it was Morrison, hard to tell. The burns. He wasn't moving, floating face down. I grabbed someone, another sailor. He was alive, barely, burned so badly. We swam for shore, for Ford Island. It's not far, maybe 100 yards, but it felt like miles. Through the burning oil, through the smoke, through the bodies. Other boats were coming, rescue boats, motor launches. They were pulling people out of the water. Someone grabbed me, hauled me into a boat. Other sailors, some burned, some bleeding, some just in shock. I looked back. The Arizona, my ship. She was settling into the mud. The water was up to the superstructure. Fire everywhere. The forward section was just gone. Twisted metal, smoke pouring out, black smoke reaching into the sky like a pillar. The flag was still flying, the stars and stripes on the mainmast, still flying even as the ship died beneath it. Men were still jumping off, still trying to escape, still. They brought us here. Ford Island, the hospital, it's overwhelmed, men everywhere. on stretchers, on the floor, in the hallways, doctors and nurses running, shouting, trying to save, trying to. Some of the burns, I can't, I won't. I can't describe what I saw. They checked me over. My hands are burned from the oil fire. Not bad. First degree mostly. Some blisters. They bandaged them and told me to sit here and wait. So I'm sitting, and I'm writing, because I don't know what else to do. Charlie. I haven't seen Charlie. He was in the turret with me, but then, after the explosion, I don't know. I don't remember seeing him. Luis is here. He's got a broken leg. Compound fracture. He was thrown against something when the magazine exploded. He's in terrible pain, but he's alive. He keeps asking about the others. Morrison. I think Morrison's dead. I think that was him in the water. Chen. I don't know. Don't know where he is. So many dead. So many. The officer who just came through said. He said over 1,000 men from the Arizona, dead or missing. Over 1,000. That's almost the whole crew. Almost everyone I knew. Everyone I served with. Everyone I called brother. Gone. The captain. Captain Van Valkenburg. Dead. He went down with the ship. They saw him on the bridge when the explosion happened. Never had a chance. The ship. My ship. The Arizona. She's a grave now. A tomb. 1,000 men entombed in her hull. Below the water. Still inside. I can hear someone's radio in the hallway. The president, Franklin Roosevelt, giving a speech. Day of Infamy. That's what he's calling it. Day of Infamy. Yesterday, December 6th, 24 hours ago, we were swimming at Waikiki, eating fish and pineapple, watching the sunset, laughing. Charlie was joking about the girl he met. Luis was counting his poker winnings. Everything was normal. And now everything's. I can't stop shaking. My whole body won't stop shaking. The smell, I can still smell it. Burning oil, burning flesh, smoke, blood. My ears are ringing. This high-pitched whine that won't stop. From the explosions, from the guns firing, from the everything. A chaplain came by earlier, asked if I wanted to pray. I couldn't find words. My mouth wouldn't work. He prayed for me. I don't remember what he said. Outside I can hear it continuing. Explosions, gunfire, planes, more attacks. They're hitting other targets. The airfields, the other ships. How many dead? How many wounded? How many ships destroyed? The whole Pacific Fleet. They hit the whole Pacific Fleet in harbor on a Sunday morning when half the crew was on liberty or sleeping. We never had a chance. Why didn't we know? Why didn't someone see them coming? How did they get all the way across the Pacific without being detected? None of it makes sense. The nurse is telling us we need to move. They need the space for worse casualties. If we can walk, we need to go to the temporary barracks being set up. I can walk. My hands hurt, but I can walk. My legs work. I'm one of the lucky ones. Lucky. 1,000 men dead, and I'm lucky because I was in the aft turret instead of forward, because I was in the right place when the magazine exploded instead of the wrong place, because random chance put me on the side that lived instead of the side that died. Charlie. Where's Charlie? Has anyone seen Charlie Novak? Seaman second class. Turret 4. Chicago. Anyone? No one knows. No one knows anything. Everything's chaos. Controlled chaos, but still chaos. I need to. I don't know what I need to do. Follow orders. Move to the barracks. Wait for instructions. The Arizona is still visible from the hospital windows. I can see her. The smoke. The twisted metal of the superstructure. The flag still flying. My ship. My home. My brothers. All gone. I need to stop writing. My hands hurt. The bandages are making it hard to hold the pen. The ink is smearing, but I needed to get this down. Needed to record it. While it's fresh. While I can still. December 7th, 1941. Day of Infamy. The day everything changed. December 8th, 1941. Evening. Temporary barracks, Ford Island. Charlie's dead. They found him, or what's left of him. Below decks. Forward magazine area. He never made it out. Charlie Novak. Seaman second class. Chicago, Illinois. 20 years old. Dead. I can't. I can't process this. Yesterday he was alive, joking, laughing, snoring in his bunk, and now he's gone. Luis told me. He got the list, the casualty list. It's not complete, not even close. Too many missing, too many bodies still in the water, still in the ships. But Charlie's on the list. Confirmed dead. I haven't cried yet. I thought I would, but I can't seem to. I'm numb, hollow, like there's nothing inside me. They're saying 1,177 men from the Arizona are dead or missing. Out of a crew of 1,511, 1,177. I keep saying the number, but it doesn't mean anything. It's too big, too massive to comprehend. Captain Van Valkenburg, dead. Rear Admiral Isaac Kidd, dead. Most of the officers, dead. Most of the crew, dead. The Arizona is a total loss. She'll never sail again. She's sitting in the mud at the bottom of the harbor with over 1,000 men still inside her. A grave. A war grave. That's what they're calling it. I've been trying to make a list, trying to remember everyone from Division 5, trying to figure out who made it and who didn't. Charlie Novak, dead. Robert Morrison, dead. William Chen, missing, presumed dead. Jackson from Oklahoma. I saw him. He's alive. Burned but alive. Peters, dead. Kowalski, dead. Rodriguez, missing. 7 men from my division dead. 2 missing. 3 survived. 3 out of 12. That's... I can't. The president declared war this morning against Japan. Congress voted nearly unanimously. 1 dissenting vote. 1 woman who voted against it. We're at war now. Officially. Actually. And we've already lost. We've already been hit so hard. So many dead. So many ships damaged or destroyed. The Oklahoma capsized. Over 400 men trapped inside. The California sank. The West Virginia sank. The Nevada tried to get underway and almost made it out of the harbor before she had to be beached. The Pennsylvania was in dry dock, so she survived mostly intact. 8 battleships. They hit all 8 battleships on Battleship Row. In less than 2 hours, they crippled the Pacific Fleet. How are we supposed to fight a war now? How are we supposed to? With what? Our fleet is. Most of it is. I saw them bringing bodies in today. From the harbor. From the ships. Stretcher after stretcher. Some covered with sheets. Some not. Some weren't even. You couldn't tell they'd been human. I had to turn away. Had to. I couldn't look anymore. The smell over the harbor it's oil and smoke and death. That's what death smells like. Burning oil and charred flesh and seawater, and I can't get it out of my nose. Can't stop smelling it. Luis is in the hospital still. His leg's bad. Infection risk is high. But he's going to live. He's going to walk again. Eventually. He asked me about Charlie. I told him. He just stared at me. Then he turned his face to the wall. I could see his shoulders shaking. Charlie. God. Charlie. We were going to. After the Navy we were going to. He wanted to open a restaurant. I was going to help him. We had plans. We talked about it. Stupid dreams, but they were ours. And now he's at the bottom of Pearl Harbor in the wreck of the Arizona, along with 1,000 other men with 1,000 other dreams. I keep seeing it. The explosion, the fireball, the ship lurching, over and over in my mind. When I close my eyes, I see it. When I try to sleep, I see it. I can't sleep. Every time I start to drift off, I jerk awake. Heart pounding, sweating, the smell in my nose. Is this what the rest of my life is going to be? This fear? This brokenness? They're talking about reassignments. The Arizona survivors will be distributed to other ships, fill out crews, get the fleet operational again. I don't know if I can. Don't know if I can go back to sea. Don't know if I can. The thought of being on another ship in another battle, watching more friends die, I don't think I can do it. But what choice do I have? We're at war. I'm a sailor. That's my job. Do my duty. Honor my oath. Serve my country. Even though my hands shake. Even though I can't sleep. Even though every loud noise makes me flinch. Even though I see Charlie's face every time I close my eyes. A chaplain gave a service today. For the dead. For the Arizona crew. It was outside, near the barracks. Maybe 100 survivors gathered. Maybe less. That's all that's left. 100 men out of 1,500. The chaplain talked about sacrifice, about duty, about honor, about how the men who died were heroes, how they gave their lives defending freedom. But they didn't give their lives were taken, stolen, they were asleep or eating breakfast, or standing watch and then bombs fell and they died. There was no choice, no nobility, just sudden violent death. I'm angry. I'm realizing I'm angry. Angry at Japan for attacking. Angry at our commanders for not being ready. Angry at God for letting this happen. Angry at myself for surviving when better men died. Why me? Why did I live when Charlie died? When Morrison died? When so many better, braver men died? I was in turret 4. Aft. If I'd been assigned to turret 1 or 2, forward, where the bomb hit, where the magazine exploded, I'd be dead too. Random chance, arbitrary assignment. That's why I'm alive. It's not fair. It's not. None of this is fair. I need to write to Charlie's parents. Need to tell them. What? That their son is dead? That he died. How did he die? I don't know. I don't know if it was fast or slow. If he suffered, if he was scared. I don't know anything except that he's gone. How do you write that letter? How do you find the words? I've started it 3 times, ripped it up 3 times, can't get past Dear Mr. and Mrs. Novak. What comes after that? Your son is dead. I'm sorry. He was my best friend. He made me laugh. He was good and kind and funny, and now he's at the bottom of Pearl Harbor, and you'll never see him again. I can't write that, can't. But I have to. They deserve to know, deserve to hear it from someone who knew him, who cared about him. Tomorrow. I'll write it tomorrow. The lights are about to go out in the barracks. Men around me are settling in. Some are crying quietly. Some are staring at the ceiling. Some are writing letters like me. We're all broken, all damaged, all trying to figure out how to keep going. Outside, I can see the harbor. The smoke is still rising from some of the wrecks. The Oklahoma's hull is still visible, red and capsized. The Arizona's superstructure sticks up above the water, twisted and burned. Tomorrow they start the recovery efforts, trying to get men out of the ships, the ones who might still be alive, trapped in air pockets, the bodies that can be recovered. I volunteered to help. Don't know why. Maybe because I need to do something, need to feel useful, need to help my brothers, even the dead ones. The officer in charge looked at me like I was crazy, said survivors shouldn't have to do that work, said there's plenty of other personnel, but I insisted, so he put me on the list. Tomorrow I'll go back to the Arizona, back to my ship, my tomb, and I'll help bring out the dead. God help me. God help us all. December 12th, 1941. Night. Temporary barracks. I spent the last 3 days helping with recovery operations. I can't. I shouldn't. I'm going to try to write about it, but I don't know if I can. The water's still full of oil, still has a rainbow sheen on the surface in some places. We go out in small boats, motor launches, wearing overalls and gloves and masks. The masks don't help much. You can still smell it. We search the water, look for bodies, for survivors, though there aren't any survivors anymore. Everyone who was going to make it out made it out in the first hours. Now it's just recovery. I've pulled 6 men from the harbor, 6 bodies. Some were face down, floating in the oil. Some were tangled in debris. One was caught in mooring lines, suspended in the water like he was swimming frozen mid-stroke. Some of them I recognized, faces I knew, men I served with, ate with, laughed with. Some of them were burned. The oil fires. I can't. I won't describe it. We bring them to the collection point. Tag them if we can. Identify them if possible. Many can't be identified. The burns or the water or the time. Too much damage. They're counted, logged, covered, moved to temporary morgues. The numbers keep growing. 2,000, 2,300, over 2,400 now, and still counting. The Arizona alone accounts for nearly half. 1,177 confirmed now. They've stopped searching inside the ship. Too dangerous, too unstable. The men still inside will stay inside. A grave. A permanent grave. Yesterday I saw something that broke me. Completely broke me. We were working near the Arizona's wreck. The superstructure's still partially above water. Twisted metal and burnt paint, and we were checking the area, making sure we hadn't missed anyone. And I saw There was a body wedged in the wreckage, high up. Must have been blown there by the explosion. Tangled in the metal, it was wearing Turret 4 crew insignia. It might have been Charlie, I don't know, couldn't tell. The burns, the damage, but the insignia, the position, it could have been him. I told the officer in charge. They're going to try to recover it. Him. When the salvage crews can get to it safely, I had to step away after that. Had to. I walked to the edge of the island, and I vomited. Everything in my stomach, just heaved it all out. Then I sat down and I cried. Actually cried. For the first time since it happened. Huge racking sobs that hurt my chest, couldn't stop, couldn't breathe, just cried and cried until there was nothing left. One of the other sailors found me, sat down next to me, didn't say anything, just sat there while I fell apart. Eventually I stopped, wiped my face, apologized. He said, "Don't apologize." Said he'd done the same thing 2 days ago. Said we all have breaking points. Said it's okay to break, just have to put yourself back together after. I don't know if I can put myself back together. Don't know if the pieces even fit anymore. I wrote the letter to Charlie's parents last night. Took 4 hours. 8 pages. I told them everything I could think of. How we met. How he made everyone laugh. How he was the best friend I'd ever had. How he died quickly. How he didn't suffer. I don't know if that last part's true. I hope it is. I pray it is. But I don't know. I told them he talked about them often, about his mother's cooking and his sisters and his neighborhood. I told them he was proud to serve, proud to be on the Arizona, proud to defend his country. I told them I was sorry, so sorry, that I wished it had been me instead. I mailed it this morning. It's on its way to Chicago now, to a family who's about to have their world destroyed. I wrote to Morrison's parents too. He was from Alabama, small town, his girlfriend, his church. I told them he died with his Bible in his pocket. I don't know if that's true either, but it should be. It feels right. I'm running out of things to say. Running out of ways to process this. The nightmares are worse. Last night I dreamed I was back in the turret. The explosion happened again, but this time I couldn't escape. I was trapped below decks. Water rising, fire spreading, smoke choking me. I woke up screaming. 3 other men in the barracks were having the same kind of dreams. We all woke up around the same time, all sweating, all terrified. We sat there in the dark, breathing hard, trying to calm down. No one said anything. What's there to say? We're broken. All of us. The survivors. We're carrying something now that we'll never be able to put down. The smell of burning oil, the sound of men screaming, the sight of the Arizona breaking apart. It's all inside us now. Permanent. They're talking about reassignments next week, getting the survivors back to duty. The Navy needs every man. The war is just beginning. There's so much to do. Part of me wants to get back to work, wants purpose, wants to fight back against the bastards who did this, wants revenge. Another part of me wants to go home, to Cedar Rapids, to sit in my mother's kitchen and eat her cooking and sleep in my old bed and pretend none of this ever happened. But I can't do that. Can't go home. Not yet. Not until... Until what? Until I've made this right somehow. Until I've avenged Charlie and Morrison and Chen and the 1,000 others. Can you avenge the dead? Can you make their deaths mean something? I don't know. But I have to try. The chaplain came by again today. He's making rounds, checking on the survivors, seeing who needs help. He asked how I was doing. I said fine. He gave me this look. Said it's okay not to be fine. Said what we went through was traumatic, horrific, life-changing. Said it's normal to feel broken, normal to struggle. I asked him where God was on December 7th. Why didn't God stop it? Why did God let over 2,000 men die? He didn't have an easy answer. Said he wrestled with that question too. Said faith doesn't mean understanding. Means trusting even when you don't understand. I don't know if I can do that. Don't know if I have that kind of faith. But I thanked him for trying, for caring, for being there. The sun's going down outside. Another day ending. Another day survived. That's what it feels like now. Survival. Just getting through each day, each hour, each minute. One breath, then another, then another. That's all I can manage right now. Charlie, if somehow you can hear this, if some part of you is out there somewhere, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. You deserved better. You deserve to open that restaurant, to marry a good girl, to have kids and grow old and tell stories about your Navy days. You deserve to live. I'll try to live for both of us. I'll try to make it count. I promise. Rest easy, brother. Rest easy. December 15th, 1941. Afternoon. Temporary barracks. They've assigned me to salvage detail. For the next week, I'll be working on recovery and cleanup operations around the harbor. It's grim work, the worst work, but someone has to do it. Today we were working near the Oklahoma. She's still capsized, her hull exposed to the sky, her superstructure buried in the mud. Over 400 men are still trapped inside. They've been tapping on the hull, Morse code, calling for help, but we can't get to them. The ship's too unstable. Cutting into her might cause her to shift, crush the men inside. It's a horrible situation, knowing they're alive in there, hearing them signal and not being able to save them. The tapping has been getting weaker, less frequent. They're running out of air. We've been working around the hull, trying to find safe entry points, cutting through the bottom, racing against time. Today we got 3 men out, 3 survivors, 32 hours after the attack. They'd been trapped in a void that still had air. They were dehydrated, injured, terrified, but alive. When they came out, filthy and shaking and crying, everyone cheered, actually cheered. It was the first good thing that's happened since Sunday. 3 men saved, out of 400 trapped. It's not much, but it's something. I helped carry one of them to the ambulance. He kept saying thank you, over and over, thank you, thank you, thank you, like we were heroes for pulling him out of the ship his shipmates died in. I don't feel like a hero. I feel like an undertaker, a gravedigger. That's what most of this work is, recovering the dead, cleaning up the wreckage, preparing for whatever comes next. The harbor is slowly being cleared. Some of the damaged ships are being refloated, prepared for repairs. The Nevada is being patched up. The Pennsylvania was barely damaged. The destroyers and cruisers are getting ready for sea. But the battleships, Oklahoma, Arizona, California, West Virginia, they're done. The Arizona will never sail again. The Oklahoma probably won't either. Our battle line is broken, destroyed. The Japanese did what they came to do, and now we have to rebuild, recover, fight back. I saw something today that made me sick, actually physically sick. We were pulling debris from the water, pieces of ships, equipment, personal effects. I found a teddy bear, a child's teddy bear. Some sailor must have been taking it home for his kid. It was waterlogged and covered in oil, but you could still see it was a teddy bear. I don't know whose it was. Don't know if the man who owned it survived or died. But holding that teddy bear, thinking about some child waiting for their daddy to come home with a present. Waiting and waiting, and maybe he's never coming home. I had to set it down. Had to walk away. Couldn't handle it. How many kids are waiting? How many wives and mothers and sweethearts are waiting for news? How many telegrams are being sent right now to families across the country? We regret to inform you, Charlie's family has received theirs by now. Morrison's family. Chen's family. Hundreds of families. Thousands. And it's just beginning. The war's just started. How many more telegrams will be sent before this is over? I got a letter from home today. Ma wrote it on December 4th. Before. She's talking about Christmas plans, about how excited Dorothy is for me to see her in the school play, about how they're going to make my favorite dinner when I come home on leave. She doesn't know yet. The letter was written before the attack, before everything changed. By now she knows. By now she's seen the news, read about Pearl Harbor, about the Arizona. She must be terrified, wondering if I'm alive or dead. I need to write her, tell her I'm okay, relatively okay, alive at least. But I can't find the words. How do I explain what happened? How do I describe what I've seen, what I've done, what I've become? I'm not the same person who left Cedar Rapids. That boy is gone. Dead, maybe. Buried under the wreckage of the Arizona. Who am I now? A survivor? A haunted mont? A sailor without a ship? I don't know anymore. The work continues. Tomorrow we'll be back in the boats, back in the water, pulling more bodies, clearing more wreckage, trying to make some kind of order out of chaos. It feels pointless sometimes. Feels like we're just moving pieces around while the real problem, The war, the enemy, the threat remains untouched. But this is what we can do right now. This is our duty. So we do it. One body at a time, one piece of wreckage at a time, 1 hour at a time. And we try not to think too much, try not to feel too much, try to just work and work and work until we're too exhausted to dream. Tonight I'll sleep, or I'll try to, and maybe the nightmares will be a little less vivid. Maybe the screaming in my head will be a little quieter. Maybe. Charlie, Morrison, Chen, all the others, I'm still here, still working, still trying to make sense of it. I don't know why I survived and you didn't. Don't know if there's a reason or if it's just random chance. But I'm going to keep going to keep fighting, going to make sure your deaths meant something, I promise. December 18th, 1941. Evening. Temporary barracks. Got orders today. As of December 23rd, I'm being reassigned to the USS Pennsylvania. She was in dry dock during the attack, only took minor damage. They're rushing repairs, getting her ready for operations. They need crew to replace casualties and fill out the roster. Part of me is relieved to have orders, to have a purpose, to be going back to duty. Another part is terrified. The thought of being on another ship, in another battle. It makes my chest tight, makes it hard to breathe. But I don't have a choice. We're at war. I'm a sailor. This is the job. The Pennsylvania already has some Arizona survivors in her crew. We'll be a ship of ghosts, men haunted by what we saw, what we lost. But maybe that's good. Maybe we'll understand each other, help each other carry the weight. I finally wrote to Ma today, told her I'm alive, told her I'm okay, lied about how okay I am. But she doesn't need to know the truth, doesn't need to see how broken her son has become. I told her the Arizona is gone, that many of my shipmates died, that I was lucky, that God was watching over me. I'm not sure I believe that last part. If God was watching, why did he let it happen? Why did over 2,000 men die on a quiet Sunday morning? But Ma needs to believe in a protective God, needs to think her son is safe in divine hands. So I gave her that comfort, even if I can't feel it myself. I wrote to Dorothy too, kept it lighter, told her about Hawaii, about the palm trees and the warm weather, told her I was thinking about her school play, wishing I could see it, told her to work hard in school and help Ma around the house. Didn't mention the war, didn't mention the attack. She's 16, she doesn't need those nightmares. I keep thinking about this time last year, December 1940. I've been on the Arizona for about 7 months. We had Christmas celebrations planned. There was a tree in the mess deck, decorations, special meals. We sang carols. There was a feeling of peace and joy and hope. 1 year. That's all. 1 year ago, everything was different. Now the Arizona is at the bottom of the harbor. Over 1,000 men are dead. We're at war with Japan. The entire world has changed. How do we celebrate Christmas now? How do we find joy or hope or peace in the middle of this? The Navy's planning something. A memorial service on Christmas Eve. For all the dead, for all the ships. They're going to hold it at the harbor near the Arizona. I've already decided to go. I need to. Need to honor them. Honor Charlie and Morrison and Chen and all the others. Need to say goodbye properly. Luis is being transferred to the hospital in California. His leg's not healing right. There's infection risk. They're sending him stateside for better treatment and recovery. Part of me envies him. Getting out of here. Going home, sort of. To safety and proper hospitals and no salvage details. But another part knows he's carrying the same weight I am. The same nightmares. The same guilt. He's just carrying it somewhere else. We said goodbye this morning. He was on a stretcher, waiting for transport to the airfield. We shook hands. Tried to say something meaningful. Couldn't find the words. Finally, I just said, "Take care of yourself, Luis." He said, "You too, Tommy. Stay alive." That's the best we can hope for now. Stay alive. He mentioned Charlie before they took him away. Said, Charlie would have hated this. All of it. He would have made some joke about it. Made us laugh. He was right. Charlie would have found a way to make it bearable. That was his gift. Finding light in darkness. I miss him so much it's like a physical pain. An ache in my chest that won't go away. The salvage work continues. We pulled 23 more bodies from the harbor this week. 23 men who had families, dreams, futures. Now they're statistics. Numbers on a casualty list. I don't know most of their names, don't know their stories, but I helped carry them, helped log them, helped prepare them for burial. It's the least I can do, the only thing I can do. Honor the dead, remember them, make sure they're not forgotten. The sun's setting outside. Another day ending, another night approaching, another round of nightmares waiting. But I'm still here, still breathing, still trying. For Charlie, for Morrison, for Chen, for all of them. I'll keep going. I'll keep fighting. I'll make sure their sacrifice meant something, even if I don't know what that means yet, even if I don't know how. I'll find a way. I have to. December 24th, 1941. Late evening, temporary barracks, Christmas Eve. This morning I attended the memorial service for the Arizona crew. They held it on Ford Island, near the harbor. You could see the wreck clearly from where we stood, the superstructure still jutting from the water, the oil still leaking. They call it the Black Tears now, a slow, constant seepage that spreads across the surface in dark rainbows. About 200 of us gathered, survivors, officers from other ships, Navy brass, a few civilians, family members of crew who happened to be in Hawaii. The chaplain stood before us in his dress uniform. Behind him, visible in the water, was the Arizona, our ship, our tomb. He began reading names, the list of the dead. It took 45 minutes to read them all. 45 minutes of names, ranks, hometowns. Charles Joseph Novak, Seaman Second Class, Chicago, Illinois. When I heard Charlie's name, something broke inside me. Again, different this time, like a final acknowledgement that he's really gone, not coming back, no mistake, no miracle, just gone. Robert Morrison, Seaman First Class, Mobile, Alabama. William Chen, Seaman First Class, San Francisco, California. Name after name after name. Some I recognized, most I didn't. Over 1,000 men, 1,000 lives, 1,000 families destroyed. I stood at attention the whole time, legs shaking, vision blurring. But I didn't move, didn't sit, didn't break. This was for them. The least I could do was stand. When the names ended, the chaplain prayed. I don't remember the words exactly. Something about sacrifice and honor and eternal rest. About how these men gave their lives defending freedom. About how they would never be forgotten. Then taps. A lone bugler played taps. The sound carried across the water, echoing off the ships and the shore. The most beautiful, most heartbreaking thing I've ever heard. I cried, openly, didn't even try to hide it. Half the men around me were crying too. When it ended, when the last note faded away, we stood in silence, looking at the Arizona, at our ship, at the grave of our brothers. The flag is still flying. Someone, divers I heard, raised it back up. The stars and stripes waving from the mainmast of the sunken ship. It's perfect, horrible and perfect, a symbol of defiance, of persistence, of refusal to surrender even in death. The Arizona is still fighting, still standing, still flying her colors. And so are we, the survivors. We're still fighting, still standing, still here. After the service, some of us stayed, just standing there, looking at the wreck, not talking, just being present. An officer approached me, Commander Davis. I recognized him from before the attack. He'd been on the Pennsylvania during the bombing, helped coordinate the defense. He asked my name, my rank, what ship I'd served on. I told him, USS Arizona, Division 5, Turret 4. He nodded. Said he knew I was being reassigned to the Pennsylvania, said they were lucky to have me, said the Arizona crew were the best sailors in the fleet. I didn't know what to say to that, didn't feel like one of the best, felt like a broken shell of a man. But I thanked him. He put a hand on my shoulder and said, carry them with you, son. The ones who didn't make it. Carry them forward. Make them proud. Then he walked away. Carry them with me. That's what I've been doing, isn't it? Every day, every hour. Carrying Charlie and Morrison and Chen and all the others. The weight of them. The memory of them. The responsibility of them. It's heavy. So heavy sometimes I don't think I can bear it. But I will. I have to. Tonight is Christmas Eve. Back in Cedar Rapids, the family is probably at church right now. Candlelight service, singing carols. The church warm and glowing, snow probably falling outside, Ma in her good dress, Dad in his suit, Dorothy and Mickey fidgeting in the pew, James home from college, looking adult and serious. They're praying for me. I know they are. Praying I'm safe. Praying I come home. I'm praying too. Not for myself. For them. That this war doesn't touch them. That they stay safe in Iowa. That the war stays far away from Cedar Rapids. And I'm praying for the dead. For Charlie and Morrison and Chen and the 1,000 others. That wherever they are, they're at peace. That they're not suffering. That somehow, in some way I don't understand, they know they mattered. Their lives meant something. Their deaths weren't in vain. There's a small celebration planned here tonight. Nothing elaborate. Some decorations. Special dinner. Some guys are going to sing carols. I'll go. I'll participate. I'll try to smile. Try to feel some small spark of the season. But my heart's not in it. My heart's in the harbor. With the Arizona. With my brothers who can't celebrate anything ever again. Tomorrow's Christmas Day. Then I have 2 more days before I report to the Pennsylvania. 2 more days of this limbo. This in-between state. Then it's back to duty. Back to being a sailor. Back to war. I'm scared. Terrified, actually. Of going back to sea. Of being in another battle. Of losing more friends. But I'm also angry. Burning with rage at Japan. At what they did. At how they attacked us while we slept. Without warning. Without declaration. That anger is going to keep me going. Going to fuel me through whatever comes next. We're going to win this war. I don't know how long it will take or how many more will die. But we're going to win. For Charlie, for Morrison, for Chen, for the 1,177 men of the Arizona. For all of them. We'll carry them with us. Into battle, into victory. We'll make them proud. Merry Christmas, Charlie, wherever you are. I hope there's no war there. I hope you are at peace. I miss you, brother. I miss you so much. December 31st, 1941. Late night. Temporary barracks. The last day of 1941. This year that began with me in Iowa, working at Dad's hardware store, is ending with me in Hawaii, a survivor of the worst naval disaster in American history. Everything has changed. Everything. I've been thinking all day about where I was a year ago. New Year's Eve 1940. I was on the Arizona, had been, for about 7 months. We had a party in the mess deck. Guys laughing, drinking smuggled beer, making resolutions, talking about the coming year. We were so innocent, so naive. We thought we knew what we were doing, thought we were ready for anything. We weren't ready for December 7th. Nobody was. Tonight there's supposed to be fireworks over Honolulu, a celebration. New Year's Eve. New beginnings. I can see them from here. Bursts of color in the dark sky, red and white and blue, beautiful and completely wrong. How can we celebrate? How can we shoot off fireworks like everything's normal when 2,000 men are dead and we're at war? But I guess we need it. Need some kind of normalcy, some kind of hope. I've been making a list. What I lost this year. What I gained. Lost. My innocence. My belief that the world was safe. Charlie Novak. My best friend. Morrison. Chen. So many others. The USS Arizona. My home. My ship. My ability to sleep through the night without nightmares. My sense of certainty about the future. Gained. Understanding of what sacrifice really means. Knowledge of my own strength. I've survived something I didn't think I could survive. Purpose. Clear, focused purpose. Awabani. Win this war. Honor the fallen. Brotherhood with the other survivors. We're bound together now. Forever. Perspective. I know what matters now. Family, duty, honor, memory. The balance doesn't feel even. The losses outweigh the gains by so much, but I'm still here, still alive, still able to fight. That has to count for something. I report to the Pennsylvania tomorrow. January 1st, 1942, a new year, a new assignment, a new chapter. I'm bringing everything with me. The memories, the nightmares, the guilt, the rage, the determination. All of it. Some guys are having a small party down the hall. I can hear them toasting, singing, trying to maintain morale. I joined them for a while earlier. We raised cups of smuggled whiskey, made a toast. To the Arizona. To the fallen. To victory. To getting through this. I drank. The whiskey burned going down, warmed my stomach, made my head swim a little. Then I came back here to write. This is the last entry I'll make as a man without a ship. Tomorrow I'll be Pennsylvania crew. Different hull, different mission. But the same duty. Serve, fight. Honor those who fell. I've been thinking about what the commander said at the memorial. Carry them with you. Make them proud. That's my resolution for 1942, my only resolution. Carry Charlie and Morrison and Chen and all the others with me into every battle, every challenge, every moment. Live for them, fight for them, win for them. Make their sacrifice mean something. The fireworks are still going off outside, each burst of light reflected in the harbor water. I can see the Arizona from here, her superstructure dark against the lights of the city. She's still there, still visible, still present. They say they're going to leave her there, make her a permanent memorial, let the dead rest where they fell. I think that's right. The Arizona should stay, should be a reminder of what happened, of what we lost, of why we fight. 1,000 men still inside her, entombed forever in steel and water. I'll never forget them. As long as I live, I'll remember. The year is almost over. 1941. The year that changed everything. In a few minutes, it will be 1942, a year of war, of fighting, of sacrifice. I'm ready as I can be, for Charlie, for all of them. Here's to 1942. Let's finish this. January 15th, 1942, evening. USS Pennsylvania, underway. I'm at sea again. First time since the attack. First time since I swam away from the Arizona. We left Pearl Harbor this morning. The Pennsylvania is heading to the west coast for final repairs and modifications. Then we'll be back in action. Leaving was harder than I expected. As we pulled away from the harbor, I stood on deck watching the shoreline recede, watching the Arizona get smaller. I could still see her, the superstructure, the flag still flying, my ship, my brother's grave. Leaving felt like abandonment, like I was deserting them. But I'm carrying them with me, in my head, in my heart. They're with me even when the Arizona is thousands of miles away. The Pennsylvania crew has been welcoming. About 30 of us are Arizona survivors scattered throughout the ship. We recognize each other. Have this look, this understanding. The other crew, the ones who weren't at Pearl, they treat us differently, with respect, sometimes with awe, like we're veterans now. Battle-tested. I don't feel like a veteran. I feel like a survivor. That's different. During the attack, I didn't fight. I didn't shoot down planes or save lives or do anything heroic. I just survived. Got thrown in the water and swam to shore and happened not to die. That's not heroism. That's luck. But they see it differently. They see someone who was there, who witnessed it, who lived through it. Maybe that's its own kind of service. Being a witness, remembering, telling the story. Being at sea again is strange. The first hour I was on edge. Every loud noise made me jump. Every time the ship's engines changed pitch, I thought we were under attack. But it's getting better. The routine is helping. Standing watch, maintaining equipment, following orders. My hands remember how to work the guns. My feet remember how to move on a rolling deck. The Navy training is still there, underneath the trauma. I can do this. I can be a sailor again. The nightmares are still there. Last night I woke up 3 times, each time with the same dream, the explosion, the fire, swimming through burning oil. But each time I woke up, I reminded myself where I was, on the Pennsylvania, safe, alive. And then I went back to sleep. That's progress. Small progress, but progress. I got a letter from Ma before we left port. She wrote it after she got my letter telling her I was alive. She said she'd been terrified, that she'd heard about the Arizona on the radio, that for 3 days she didn't know if I was alive or dead, that she prayed constantly. Then my letter arrived and she cried with relief. She said the whole town had been following the news, that everyone was asking about me, that the church had prayer vigils, that when word got out I was alive, people stopped her on the street to express their joy and relief. She said Dad cried. I've never seen my father cry, can't even imagine it. But Ma says when he read my letter, he sat at the kitchen table and wept. That nearly broke me. Thinking of my strong, stoic father crying over his son, I wrote back immediately, told her I was fine, that I was on a new ship, that I was ready to do my duty. I didn't tell her about the nightmares, or the bodies I pulled from the harbor, or the way my hands shake sometimes, or how I can't close my eyes without seeing Charlie's face. She doesn't need to know that, needs to believe her son is okay. Dorothy wrote too, a sweet letter about her school play and Christmas and how Mickey got in trouble for tracking mud through the house. Normal things, comforting things, things that have nothing to do with war or death or trauma. I read it 3 times, soaking in the normalcy. The reminder that somewhere in the world people are living regular lives, going to school, tracking mud, worrying about small things. That's what we're fighting for. That normalcy, that peace, that life. The Pennsylvania is a good ship. Solid, powerful. She survived the attack with minimal damage because she was in dry dock. Some of the crew feel guilty about that, like they should have been out in the harbor with the rest of the fleet. But luck is luck. Random, arbitrary, meaningless. Some ships were in the right place. Some were in the wrong place. Some men lived. Some died. You can't assign meaning to chaos. I'm writing this in my rack. My new rack. New ship. New crew. New life. But the old life is still with me. The Arizona, Charlie, Morrison, Chen. All of them. They're my past, my present, my future. I'll carry them forward, into whatever comes next, into the war, into battle, into victory, for them, always for them. March 3rd, 1942, afternoon, USS Pennsylvania, in Port San Francisco. We've been in California for over a month now. The Pennsylvania is in the shipyard undergoing repairs and upgrades, new anti-aircraft guns, better radar, improved damage control systems. They're learning from Pearl Harbor, making us harder to kill. I've had some shore leave. San Francisco is beautiful but strange to me, too much like a real city, tall buildings, crowds, traffic. After months in Hawaii and weeks at sea, it feels overwhelming. But there's energy here, purpose. The whole country is mobilizing, factories running 24 hours, women working in shipyards, war bond drives, rationing, everyone contributing. We're going to win this war. I'm sure of it now. The rage and determination I see everywhere, it's powerful, unstoppable. Japan struck us hard, but they woke something up, something fierce and committed. They're going to regret it. I got a letter from home today, the first one since I wrote to Ma about being on the Pennsylvania. It's from Betty Morrison. I wasn't expecting to hear from her. We haven't been in contact since before I enlisted. Ma must have told her about me surviving the Arizona. She wrote that she was so relieved to hear I was alive, that she'd been thinking about me constantly since the attack, that she wanted to know if I was okay, if there was anything she could do. She also wrote that she's seeing someone, a boy from Cedar Rapids, the son of the man who owns the grain elevator. They're getting serious. Might get engaged soon. She wanted me to know, wanted to be honest with me, wanted to make sure I understood that she wasn't waiting for me. I'm glad she wrote, glad she's honest, glad she's moving on with her life, because she's right. I'm not the same person she knew. That boy who kissed her under the bleachers is gone, dead with Charlie and Morrison and Chen on the Arizona. I'm someone different now, someone harder, darker, changed. Betty deserves happiness, deserves a normal life with a normal man who hasn't seen what I've seen, who doesn't wake up screaming, who doesn't smell burning oil that isn't there. I wrote her back, told her I was happy for her, told her she should marry him if he's good to her, told her not to wait for me, told her to live her life. I meant every word. The war is going to be long, years probably, and I'm going to be in the middle of it, on ships, in battles, facing danger. I can't ask anyone to wait for that. Can't ask anyone to tie themselves to someone who might not come back. Better to let her go. Let her be happy. Let her have the life she wants. I'll have my life. The Navy, the war, the mission. That's enough. It has to be. I've been thinking a lot lately about what comes after. After the war. After we win. What do I do then? Go back to Cedar Rapids? Take over Dad's hardware store? I can't picture it anymore. Can't see myself measuring nails and cutting rope and making small talk with customers about the weather. That life seems impossible now. Too small, too quiet. Maybe I'll stay in the Navy, make it a career. It's what I know now. It's where I fit. Or maybe I won't survive the war. Maybe I'll end up like Charlie. A name read at a memorial service. A telegram to my family. I don't spend much time thinking about that possibility. Doesn't help to dwell on it. Better to focus on now. On the mission, on getting the Pennsylvania ready to fight. We're heading back to Pearl soon. Then from there to wherever the Navy needs us. The Coral Sea maybe. The Philippines. Somewhere in the Pacific where Japanese ships are operating. And when we find them, we'll make them pay. For Pearl Harbor. For the Arizona. For Charlie and all the others. The Arizona survivors on the Pennsylvania have formed a kind of informal group. We eat together sometimes, share stories. Remember, there's Jackson who is on the Oklahoma, Thompson from the West Virginia, Martinez from the California, a dozen others from various ships. We all carry the same weight, the same memories, the same nightmares. We understand each other in a way no one else can. We don't have to explain, don't have to pretend. We just understand. Last week, a few of us went to a bar in San Francisco. We had a few drinks, raised a toast to the fallen. Then Jackson broke down, started crying right there at the bar, said he couldn't do it anymore, couldn't handle the nightmares and the guilt and the fear. We surrounded him, held him up, told him he was okay, that we all felt it, that he wasn't alone. Eventually he calmed down, wiped his face, apologized. We told him not to apologize, told him we'd been there, that we'd all break down eventually, that it was normal. That's what we do for each other, hold each other up, keep each other going, because we're all that's left. We're the witnesses, the survivors, the ones who remember. We owe it to the dead to keep going, to keep fighting, to finish this. The Pennsylvania will be ready in another week or two. Then we ship out, back to war. I'm ready as I'll ever be. My hands are steady now. The work has helped, keeping busy, staying focused. The nightmares are still there, but less frequent. Still see the explosion, still see Charlie, but not every night anymore. Healing? Maybe. Or just learning to live with it. Either way, I'm functional, combat ready, prepared to do my job. That's all that matters. Ma, Dad, if you're reading this someday, I want you to know I tried to come back to who I was, tried to be the boy you raised, but I can't. That boy died on December 7th, in the water, in the fire, in the chaos. I'm sorry I'm not him anymore, but I'm still your son, still trying to make you proud, still trying to do the right thing. I'm just doing it as this new person, this survivor, this warrior. I hope that's enough. I hope you can love this version of me, even though he's different, even though he's broken in places that can't be fixed. I'm still here, still fighting, still carrying forward, for you, for Charlie, for everyone. That's all I can do. That's all any of us can do. May 27th, 1942, late night, USS Pennsylvania, at sea. We're underway, heading into action. The officers haven't told us exactly where yet, but Scuttlebutt says it's somewhere in the mid-Pacific. A major operation, big. The fleet has been gathering. Carriers, cruisers, destroyers, the Pennsylvania, and other battleships. We're massing for something important. I can feel it. The tension, the anticipation, the readiness. This is what we've been training for, what we've been preparing for since the attack. Finally, we're going to hit back. I'm writing this in my rack. Most of the crew is asleep or on watch. The ship hums with purpose. Every system checked and rechecked, every set, every gun loaded, every man ready. I'm not scared anymore. That surprises me. I thought I would be. Thought the fear would come back when we headed into combat, but instead I feel calm, resolved, ready. Maybe it's because I've already seen the worst, already survived the thing I was most afraid of. Death doesn't hold the same terror when you've already looked it in the face. Or maybe it's because I have purpose now. Clear, focused purpose. Win this war. Honor the fallen. Make it count. I've been thinking about the Arizona a lot these past few days. About Charlie and Morrison and Chen. About all of them. They're still fighting. Through me. Through all the survivors. Through everyone who's taking up arms to finish what Japan started. The Arizona's still in the fight. She's still hitting back. Through her surviving crew. through the rage and determination we carry. That's what I realized. The ship isn't dead. Not really. She's still here, still present, still in the battle, just in a different form. We're her guns now, we survivors. We're her weapons, her vengeance, her legacy. And we're going to make them pay. I don't know what's ahead. Don't know if I'll survive the coming battle. Don't know if the Pennsylvania will make it through. But I know we'll fight. We'll fight with everything we have. We'll fight for every man who died at Pearl Harbor, for every ship that went down, for every dream that ended on December 7th. We'll fight until we win, or until we join our brothers in whatever comes after. Either way, we'll do our duty. I'm not the boy from Cedar Rapids anymore. Not the kid who worked in a hardware store and played baseball and kissed girls at the county fair. I'm a warrior now, a survivor, a man with a mission, and that mission is simple. Win. Honor the fallen. Never forget. If I don't make it through what's coming, if this is the last entry I write, I want whoever reads this to know. I was scared on December 7th, terrified. I watched my ship die, watched my friends die, swam through fire and oil and screaming, and it changed me. Broke something inside that I don't think will ever heal completely, but it didn't destroy me. I'm still here, still fighting, still honoring the memory of those who fell. The Arizona is still fighting, through me, through all of us, and we won't stop until this war is won. Charlie, Morrison, Chen, I'm keeping my promise. I'm carrying you forward, into battle, into whatever comes next. This one's for you, all of you. The Arizona's last gunner, still in the fight, still swinging, still standing. We're coming for them, brothers. We're going to finish this. For the Arizona, for Pearl Harbor, for all of you. End of diary. This diary was found among the personal effects of Seaman First Class Thomas Reeves following the Battle of Midway in June 1942. Reeves survived the battle and continued to serve aboard the USS Pennsylvania throughout the Pacific Campaign. He participated in operations at the Gilbert Islands, the Marshall Islands, the Marianas, Peleliu, Leyte Gulf, and Okinawa. Reeves was promoted to Chief Petty Officer in 1944 and was awarded the Bronze Star for valor during the Battle of Leyte Gulf. He survived the war and returned to Cedar Rapids, Iowa in October 1945. He married in 1947 and had 3 children. He worked as a high school teacher and baseball coach for 35 years. Reeves never forgot his shipmates from the USS Arizona. He attended every Pearl Harbor Memorial event in Iowa and made 4 trips to Hawaii to visit the USS Arizona Memorial after it was dedicated in 1962. Thomas Reeves passed away in 2003 at the age of 83. He is buried in Cedar Rapids. His headstone reads, USS Arizona Survivor, Never Forgotten. This diary was donated to the National World War II Museum by his family in 2004.